Blessings, this is Peter Fay, creator of Akasha Yoga and Into the Mythica. Today we're going to talk a little bit about heaven on earth is here, but can you see it? So a little backstory on this, and this actually relates very deeply to the principles of Akasha Yoga. In Akasha Yoga, we are illuminating our timeline and recognizing that on our journey into the new paradigm, we are moving from one set of conditions, one state of being, the old paradigm, to a new paradigm of health, of wholeness, of wonder, of expansion, and all things good, in which we're all going through a journey, in which we are learning the alchemies by which we transform our consciousness and thus transform the conditions of our lives. And in Akasha Yoga, we look at this and the larger scape in which this happens in order to showcase that regardless of the differences in our stories, everyone has their own unique, beautiful adventure of beingness, of being human, becoming something else, of being a certain version of themselves, becoming another version of themselves. Everyone's story is unique, yet underneath all of those stories is something else, something consistent, something structural, something benevolent, in which we realize that we live in a friendly universe, and that all of the circumstances of our lives, even though we can't perceive them clearly, are in fact serving to help us, and that the abundant universe that we want to live in, meaning the ideas, the access, the synchronicities, the people, the sensations, the expansion, all of that, the heaven on earth paradigm, already exists here, already exists inside the substance of the Akasha, of the substance of our experience. Yet, as we're clearing the process and processing the impressions within the self, we can't see it. The lens of the self does not have consistent access to the synchronicity of events, to the understanding that majesty is its birthright, that the abundant heaven on earth reality actually exists in the substance of your reality, and that we simply need to learn how to clear the lens of our perspective so that we can perceive that which is already there. And this is extremely important because it relates to the nature of manifestation at its core. I know many of us do techniques in the laws of attraction, or prayers, or spell works, or rituals, or other yogas, or other kriyas to try to change the substance of the self so as to experience another set of conditions. And while all of these are beautiful things, they all fundamentally do the same thing. They all work to shift the substance of the self so as to get to the manifestation of something, the manifestation of a desire. They are based upon the idea that you have an idea for something, and now in one manner or another you're doing an alchemy or a process to forge that idea into material manifestation. You're invoking a gratitude for it to bring more attention to it. You are doing a law of attraction towards it so that you draw more of it into your life. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're doing some form of invocation, which ultimately is a vibrational thing of, as one of my watchers just mentioned, the kingdom of the Father spread out upon the earth, and men do not see this, in which he is referring to the kingdom of God. And what I'm referring to is the kingdom of God, is the understanding, thank you sir, is the understanding that the kingdom is all around us. It is our vantage which changes. And this relates to the very, very, very causal root of manifestation. Causal root of manifestation on a yoga level, in which you cannot manifest something unless you can see the idea for it. Before you see the idea, you don't know. The scales are upon your eyes. But when you can see the idea, you can act upon that idea, but you must see the idea first. And you must consistently see the idea. Like, I had this idea that would really make me $1 million. I had this idea that I should do this for my life. I had this idea, and it was an expansive idea, and then, gone. That's real. Why do we do the yogas? To anchor that. Yet, the idea is there. We see the idea in the fields past the mist of our confusion. And all of a sudden, we can act on the idea. Manifestation is like this. We must be able to consistently witness that which is in the field. To live in heaven on earth, we must be able to consistently witness the qualities of heaven on earth that are already going on. And to anchor ourselves in that. For as we perceive, so do we receive through the conduit of our awareness. You know, in the Akasha Yoga, I've really done my best to express the subtle arts, the mystical arts, and so on and so forth in a digestible way so as to help you manifest a better reality. Awareness is the conduit. There are beings who can live literally on sunlight. There are beings that can track their way through the different realities. There are beings who can heal. All of this is based on their ability to perceive and be aware of the more subtle aspects of the reality, which are always there. The magic, the superpowers, the yogic superpowers, they're always there. It's always about you having access. The abundance, the ideas, the grace, all of that is always there. So the conversation is really about access. If heaven on earth is always here, do we consistently see it? Like, do we always live in the activated superhero version of ourselves, or are we muddling through forgetfulness and repeated patterns in the subconscious? How can we shift between these places inside of ourselves, which can be confused, which can be lost, which can be cloudy? How can we shift from these places back into the reality of who we really are, back into the brighter version of ourself? And this is why we, in the Akasha Yoga and all yogas, we approach the clearing of the lens of perception. And the reason for this is that perception and reception, perceiving and receiving the abundance and the life force and the everything, are directly related. For those of you who have seen the Doctor Strange movie, when the Ancient One sends him on the trip and he goes through the whole thing, and he's there, and the hands are forming more hands off the fingers, which are forming more and more hands, and the dialogue is saying, at the deepest level, thought and reality become one. Your ability to perceive the universe and the manifestation of the universe that you experience are one and the same. When we do the yogas, we clear that perception so that we can then perceive more of the magical reality for a longer period of time, which witnesses that reality into manifestation, in which the strength and the consistency of our perception anchors it into the real, consistently. This is the nature of heaven on earth is already here. In Akasha Yoga, we show how to more consistently see this and why. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be providing a link on the bottom of this page to the Akasha Yoga workshop that we're going to be presenting. And I wish you a magical day. May you live a mythical life.